lovely and darling viewers, it's Jen here at Check Her Joy. This time I'm reviewing the My Little Pony manga. This is volume 1, A Day in the Life of Equestria. So this is an 8-chapter, 8-story manga, so black and white comics in a very Japanese style. So it's written for English readers. The manga's formatted like a normal English graphic novel. But the animation style has definitely got some anime manga aspects to it. The big eyes, the style, so that is awesome. But it still feels like Equestria and My Little Pony and the characters that we know. I was definitely reading it in the main 6's voices still, so did a spot on job of still keeping it as our same characters even though we're changing the style. So the writing and art is by David Lumsdon and Shiei, and it's published by 7 Seas Entertainment. And I may have mispronounced those names, so they're down in the description below if you want to check them out. So the manga is made up of 8 chapters, each one telling one story. But within it we have like 1-page, I guess, mini stories. They remind me of reading daily comics, but then like within the daily comics sometimes you'd have a story that takes place over several comics. So within like 1 day's worth of comics you would have like a complete joke or story or aspect you wanted to bring to the story. But, like, the entire story wasn't completely wrapped up until you got to the last day of it. That's what this reminds me of. So we'd have a page that's basically 1 day of a comic, and then there were several of them to make up an entire chapter. So, like, there are little jokes and little skits and little things. So, like, each page is themed, and they each have, like, their own subtitle, which I thought was awesome. And a really cool way to, like, make the story progress and give you, like, stopping points, but also tie them all together and make it really interesting. So, Chapter 1 finds Pinkie Pie in Twilight Study, and she encounters a mirror where they find a world that is very similar to their own, and Pinkie Pie starts talking to another version of herself. And they get along really well, and Pinkie Pie gets super excited by the prospect of this really amazing dessert that she goes through the mirror, but then there's a problem, and Twilight and Spike need to go find Pinkie Pie and bring her back. She can't get back on her own, except they aren't sure which world Pinkie Pie entered, so they keep visiting all these different mirror worlds, alternate realities, where ponies are just a little bit different, but, like, they're kind of still the same characters. Kind of like Equestria Girls, where the ponies travel to the high school world, and, like, the ponies are different, but, like, they're still the same basic characters. So lots of those worlds and crazy things happening, and also Pinkie Pie is an absolute delight. So many jokes. So Chapter 2 sees Pinkie Pie needing to greet Princess Celestia and show her around Ponyville. So Twilight's a little tied up. There's a bit of a mishap. And Pinkie Pie just needs to show Celestia around Ponyville for a day. Which is hilarious. So we get to see Ponyville from Pinkie Pie's perspective, how she thinks about different people as she describes them. One of them is a pony named Star Dancer that Pinkie Pie is certain is actually a space pony, so that's kind of funny. But then we also get to see Celestia just have fun. So she spends the day going to the movies and going to the arcade and hanging out at the spa, and things that she wouldn't normally get to do as a princess, and just like be a normal pony for a little bit. But also she's still a princess, so there's like a little bit of twist and a little bit funniness to it. It's not normal, like if just Pinkie Pie were going by herself, which was awesome. Chapter 3 is about Rarity. She is asked to design an outfit for a foreign dignitary. She gets this news in the form of a letter from Princess Celestia. So she gets super excited about this. She gets to design for somebody famous. She gets to test her skills. There's a possibility that it could end up with a new boutique in this foreign land, and she's super excited about it. Except she finds out the person that she is designing for is not a pony, but a blob. So, like, the blob shows up and makes a mess of the boutique. Rarity's trying to make measurements when he's, like, fluctuating in size, and so she's got to problem solve and figure out how to do this while still being very tactful and very kind, and it was really funny, but also really kind of cute to see her trying to problem solve and work it all out. Chapter 4, we see Fluttershy. She's supposed to give a talk about animals to Ponyville, and she gets stage fright and freaks out. All her friends need to, like, calm her down and convince her to stop hiding in the garden shed. So it's a really funny series of events as each of her friends, each of the main 6, tries to get her to come out of the shed and like calm down in their own way, but also they kind of make it worse. So we get to see Fluttershy freaking out and having a panic attack, and her friends trying to be supportive and maybe not working it out as well as they could. Chapter 5 has the Apple family having a festival for the Zap Apple Jam, and the Zap Apples being in season, and Flim and Flam show up and try to market to their craziness at the festival and kind of take it over. So Flim and Flam end up letting a terror loose, basically, and the Apple family needs to wrangle it and solve the problem while salvaging their apple farm and their relations with the ponies of Ponyville. I loved seeing Flim and Flam show up again, so that was awesome. And then Chapter 6 sees Derpy and Rainbow Dash at a flea market. And Derpy kind of causes problems wherever she goes. She crashes a lot, so having her around valuable, breakable things is not great. And Derpy is just excited about the flea market and getting to see everything. So she wishes that she could fly like Rainbow Dash, and that causes some complications. And just getting to see Derpy and Rainbow Dash in this scenario is crazy. By the way, the wish is not a little bit empty. It's kind of like an actual thing that happens. So that's interesting. So the flea market and Derpy and the craziness of the crashing into everything is just funny and heartwarming, and also just getting to see Derpy and her obsession with muffins was nice. Chapter 7 sees the Cutie Mark Crusaders sneaking into the movies and seeing a scary movie about space ponies. And they've also heard Pinkie Pie talking about Star Dancer and how she's a space pony. So they decide to investigate and either prove or disprove that Star Dancer is a space pony, which they kind of believe. So they manage to freak themselves out in the process, but also we get to see them doing some investigating, which was just a cute little story seeing them. It was awesome. I loved it. So Chapter 8 sees Discord showing up, and he decides to completely break the fourth wall. Since they're in a manga, he says let's up it and make it very Japanese, very fantastical manga, very anime-like. So the Apple family find themselves as ninjas who are training to find the special one. We see Applejack going to high school and finding the other main 6, and amongst them is supposedly the special one who can help defeat this monster that is attacking their school, which ends up being Spike in a very Godzilla-like aspect. It's hilarious. So they end up needing to find the special one. So altogether, this last chapter is a bit ninjas plus Sailor Moon plus Godzilla happening here, and it's awesome. So if you ever wanted to see the ponies in like an anime type style, like absolutely crazy over the top stuff happening, even crazier than some of the things that happen at Equestria, you know, it's Discord, anything can happen. So I found this manga absolutely delightful and highly entertaining. All of it was a delight, especially Pinkie Pie had me just cracking up. But even some of the things like Celestia were having me crack up. And normally Celestia is too serious for me, but seeing her get to have her day off and like chill was hilarious. Always a delight to see the Cutie Mark Crusaders. So on the whole, this was definitely a 5-star read. I plowed through it in like an hour or so. Completely ate it up. So I highly recommend the manga. I am definitely excited for the other volumes that are coming out. So here's the back of it if you want to see. So yes, definitely check out My Little Pony, A Day in the Life of Equestria, the manga volume 1. Let me know in the comments below if you've read the manga, if you have read any of the other My Little Pony comics, and what you thought of them. On the whole, I just find this show so light and so delightful that it kind of is a great stress relief? No, it's such a great stress relief that I just enjoy it because it's so simple and it's fun. So I love it. Yeah. So peace out. I love you guys and keep reading. Bye.